let's try to set the stage of where we're at now, the fallout of all this. Obviously, Purdue is the number one team in the country, right? Are they going to be unanimous number one?
Yes.
They have to be.
I think they're unanimous number one. I mean, they blow out Florida State.
It didn't.
And they look legit. Like, when you watch Purdue play the game, you say to yourself, that's a title team.
Yeah. Yes.
It sticks out to you.
Jaden Ivey, the two things that stick out to me, three things stick out to me. Purdue's three best players.
Yeah.
Jaden Ivey moves on a court like nobody else is moving out there. I don't understand. He has like extra jumping mechanism. He has like an extra like sliding mechanism as he's driving to the basket. It really is bonkers how this man operates on a basketball court and just shifts around. He moves literally like no one else out there. It stands out to you. If you were showing somebody a Purdue basketball game and you said that showing somebody that knew nothing about basketball and you're like, pick out the guy who's going to be the top 5 pick, they'd be like, it's probably that guy that's like going wherever he wants on the court and doing. He was awesome tonight shooting, by the way. That's the one kryptonite he has is shooting threes.
4 of 6 tonight from the 3-point line.
Yeah. If he's hitting threes, it's a wrap. That stands out to you. Number 2, Zach Edey is to play Florida State, who has had the airport test title for as long as we can remember inventing the idea of the airport test.
I mean, when the Wright brothers invented flight,
yes,
Florida State walked in right next to them on the beach,
and you're like,
in Wrightsville, and
you're
like,
that's
oh my god,
that's a great basketball team.
Or Kitty Hawk.
Look how tall those. Look how tall those guys are. Florida State has been the biggest team in the country forever, and Zach Edey makes all those dudes look tiny.
Yeah,
which we already knew about him, but like just to see it playing out and
there is
see,
no team in the country that can match up with their front court.
Yes, to see his skill being paired with his size too, I think that's the big thing this year. Where like we knew how big he was, but it was more of a novelty. It was like, oh, look how funny this big dude they bring off the bench is. Remember Isaac Haas? Remember that guy? He was big, wasn't he? And now look, Zach Edey's big. And Matt Harms, remember him? He was big too. And AJ Hammonds was big. Remember those guys? And now they got another one. And that was like all we ever talked about Zach Edey. And now it's like this guy is legitimately great at basketball. And he's 7, what is it, 4, 5?
4, 5.
Who cares at that
Looks
point?
like Yao Ming.
Who cares?
Yeah.
What's the difference between 7, 4, and 5?
What other shades of does Zach Edey get? You know what I mean? When they
Other
do the
than Yao?
shades, Sean Bradley. Like
how do we zig on that one? Or how do we zag as everyone's going with the Yao Ming comparison?
I'm going Neil Fingleton. Shades of Neil Fingleton.
Shades of yeah. What is going to be the draft? What is KOC going to put in his draft?
I'm going to text KOC, who has no idea who Neil Fingleton is, and say, honestly, you've been watching a lot of Edey tape. It's Neil Fingleton 2.0, man.
A taller Eric Montross.
Dude, shades of Montross. But they're legit. Like Travion Williams and Zach Edey.
I was gonna say the third thing. So Zach Edey's height or just size in general, paired with the skill. Jaden Ivey's like just athleticism in general. And then Travion Williams is. I hate how much I love that guy.
Yeah,
his passing ability is insane, and his just like his. I don't want to shift too much into coach speak, but Travion Williams is like every bit the guy that you want on your team. That like, I mean, they took away his starting spot, and he cheers on everybody, and he comes in and makes plays, and is awesome, and he sees the bigger picture, you know, and that is so rare. And so, I mean, Matt Painter's just got to be cackling after the whole No-Gel Eastern situation when Matt Painter came under fire for.
He lost that one.
I mean, it wasn't a huge story. It wasn't like he was leading the sports shows. Everybody was talking about it, but.
They were trying to get
they were trying to get Matt Painter.
Yeah. And Matt Painter said...
They came for him.
He said, look,
you
can come at me for lots of things, but not this.
And he's like, I know more than all of you.
He doubled down.
Yeah.
He was right.
And then he's right. And Travion Williams is a great example why. He's like, Travion, here's what's going to happen. We're going to take your... I know you're an all Big Ten guy. You could be an All-American. But what if you did that from the bench? What if we brought you in off the bench and you got to do that? And Travion's like, cool, I'll do it. What does that mean? He's like, well, it means we might win a national title and you might get drafted and we might be awesome and you'll be a legend. And the bad news is you'll be a legend in West Lafayette, so you can't really do much about it. Like the place you have to come back to is West Lafayette, where Robbie Hummel doesn't even want to come back. Like that guy owns West Lafayette. And does Robbie Hummel go back to West Lafayette?
I feel like Robbie does. You know what I mean? Because if you're the king, you go back.
That was an unfair ricochet shot at Robbie.
You probably go back. I love this team because if you put the scouting report together, you really don't know who's going to kill you. You know what I mean? Like Edey might get 10 shots. Travion's going to get 10 shots. Ivey's going to get 10 shots. You know what I mean?
Stefanovic, like every so often will just like explode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brandon Newman.
Thompson's a great dude. Eric Hunter's good. Like their whole team is stacked. They're stacked.
The story of NBA basketball this year, the good teams have depth, and it's the same thing in college basketball. Like the Purdue team, the depth that they have, the fact that you go from Edey and Travion to Edey, and the fact that you have these guys that you have to match up with, there's no team that can match up with them with their size.
Yeah.
And then you throw in all those guys that we're talking about, and they have a top 5 pick. The one thing that they probably have been missing in the past, the top 5,
Jaden Ivey,
top 5
if Jaden Ivey is making, he doesn't have to go 4 for 6 from the 3-point line. He just has to be making, he has to make shots. If he's making, enough threes that he's like actually a threat, and you have to guard him out there, and
it's a wrap.
And he's taking, taking threes
out.
Yes, and he's taking threes other than just wide open threes. Mm-hmm. It is a wrap. It's and I'm not even saying that to jinx Purdue. I legitimately think Purdue is like considerably better than every other team in the country. Not like I'm not saying Purdue versus the field. Yeah. I'm not saying like it's not like that.
It doesn't mean they're going to win the title, but it's just like if you're looking at all the teams and you say who is on paper the team that will win the national championship, Purdue is that team.
Purdue should be the bet. If Purdue's not the betting favorite in Vegas to win the national title, then
then there's something that they know about the voodoo or about March Madness that Purdue can't get over. You know what I mean?
The fix is in. Yeah. The Coach K has already placed his calls to the Vegas books and said we can't let this happen.
He will win
because even if you're matching up Purdue with Gonzaga, Timmy is great, but Timmy struggles with big kids.
No team matches up with them. No team.
Gonzaga doesn't match up well. Duke kind of does actually. Duke Purdue would be a good game. I mean, I'll always talk myself into UCLA, even though they got smoked by.
They have 2 bigs.
The way you have to do it is almost like Villanova, where they just went like completely opposite way. Where Villanova plays small ball and just puts guys out there.
What the Warriors do.
Yeah. That's how you have to beat Purdue. I mean, like honestly, Villanova might be the best bet. Like the rematch, Villanova plays Purdue.
That's why it's hard to say like Purdue is going to win the title. You can lock into that on paper that it looks the part, but there's going to be some team that trips them up. But the front court that they have is unmatched. And Edey, I think he's not done yet. He's not done getting better. He's growing into.
He just looks at his hands and is like trying to understand the power he has at all times. He's just like, what are these things?
Yeah, he's still learning. He's still learning.
Yeah, but you're right. Ivy's obviously what sets them apart. Ivy's the one thing that they've missed for even. We love Robbie and those teams that Robbie was on with Juwan Johnson and Etuan Moore. They were stacked and they were probably among. They're certainly Matt Painter's best teams was the Robbie Hummel, Etuan Moore, Juwan Johnson stretch. But none of those guys were on the level Jaden Ivey is. Like that, he sets them
Robbie
up.
Robbie was the 58th pick.
Yeah.
Jaden Ivey will be a top 5 pick.
He'll be a top 5 pick, dude.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
Yes. And that Purdue's never really, they haven't had that since Glenn Robinson. They haven't had a guy like that was, but Ivy's a perimeter player, so it makes it different because
and Glenn Robinson still has the record, right, for most points in the NCAA
and everything.
Yeah.
No, Glenn Rice has the record.
Glenn Rice. Sorry.
Glenn Robinson has every record. Though. Yeah. Glenn Robinson's stats are insane if you look them up. This
is the time.
Glenn Robinson and Tim Duncan are 2 guys that are really, really good in college. But if you looked up what they actually, the numbers they actually put up in college, you're like, my God, how do they not have statues everywhere on both of their campuses? Tear down the Neil Armstrong statue and build a Glenn Robinson statue in Purdue.
Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.